So usually I come on live. Well, I've only done like a handful of lives, but come on, then pull the cards, see if anyone hops on to pull some additional cards. But today I was drawn to pull two cards before I went live. And they're the Six of Swords and the Priestess of Discs. And it comes with a message that the Six of Swords is about overcoming conflict. And the Priestess of Discs is really about coming into one and being one with your own power. And, really, I'm sorry if my dog is going to make some noise. He has spaghetti in here that he's not going to let anyone touch, but he doesn't want to touch it. She's in her power creating prosperity. And to me, it's a message that sometimes the conflict is what serves us best in life, even though we drastically try to avoid conflict. So many of us want to avoid being seen, avoid being we don't want to cause conflict. So we just even avoid our truth sometimes in order to avoid conflict. However, what we don't see is conflict can be a catalyst to put us into our power. And so here where the women are all coming together with their swords, are creating some sort of Power Ranger unite, or what was that, planet Earth? Where they create some power, and they're all holding a rose, half a dozen roses. And, roses are a symbol of beauty, but they have that stem full of thorns. And so it's almost like in order to hold something so beautiful, step into your righteous power, you have to understand that conflict is part of the process. It's very beautiful. And recently, I moved to a place where there is a fire at will. It's a state, a fire at will state, so they can literally just fire you for any reason, unless it's a discriminatory thing, in is that my shadow or is that the shadow of that? I apologize. They can literally just fire you for any reason. However, this reminds me that when you think you're going through conflict, sometimes it's a catalyst for the best change of your life. And so when I was fired for no reason, I think, it was a selfish reason from a superior. It had nothing to do with my performance at all. However, it was a catalyst for me to step into my power. And I didn't realize I even had that power until that happened. And now I have, 3 months later, I have been able to get the job of my dreams that I've been trying to get for 4 years. So it's a reminder that conflict is very important. And that sometimes it's the worst. We try to avoid it, but we desperately need to accept conflict and accept these challenges in life and embrace them as part of a stepping stone to step into your power, to become one with yourself. They are all becoming one, they unite like planet Earth did. You know what I'm saying? And so that reminds me of when we are working with the elements in order to prosper ourselves or benefit ourselves. You have to consider where you live. Okay, this is a feng shui concept. And so in feng shui, they talk about, the energy, the chi that moves throughout. And so when you live in a place where there's like really tight mountains, I lived in a place where there was just like really tight mountains, and the energy moves back and forth like extremely fast. You have to understand that. Or I lived in a place where there was plains, okay? And the energy just escapes, okay? So this all comes into the message, okay? And so the message is to be aware of your surroundings and how the energy is flowing, so that sometimes you can see the conflict coming. And even though a lot of the times many of us try to avoid conflict, try to avoid any sort of confrontation, it's a part of life, it's inevitable. And like I just discussed, it is imperative in your growth as a person to be able to go through it and embrace it with grace. And so when you are able to work with the energies around you and see that other people are trying to put conflict onto you, you can avoid putting conflict onto other people. That is something that you can do. However, I don't know if my chat is on. How do I look at my chat? That's not on today, guys. I have no idea. I hope no one's trying to get a rating. A rating from me, but let me just try to see. Okay, but this message is important. Okay. Anyways, so it's imperative to kind of like avoid putting conflict onto other people, because if you are the one causing the conflict and the challenges, then that energy is going to cycle back to you, right? However, when you're not purposely trying to bring peace, when you're purposely trying to not hurt other people, when people bring the conflict, instead of avoiding it, instead of avoiding the challenge, embrace it. That's my message, because I knew that this was coming, okay? I saw the behavior in the other people around me change. And you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. How the underlying tone in the room is different when you walked in all of a sudden. Somebody has been talking about you, okay? And somebody out there has a friend who is not their friend, who is very good at pretending they're their friend, will be there to pick them up when you fall, friend, but not be there to clap when you're up on a pedestal, friend, okay? And those are the type of people that are the most dangerous, and that I am assuring you that somebody near you is like, okay? And those are the people, you won't get a direct conflict. You won't get a direct one-on-one, in the face, challenging conflict with this person unless you say something. But what you can do is sidestep this energy, because they already created the energy, the conflict that you're going to embrace. And so when you stand true in your energy, you can sidestep this energy. So what I'm saying is, don't cause the conflict. Don't be the cause of the conflict. Don't be the one to try to revenge other people, right? You don't want to put that revenge, because when you sidestep that energy is literally going to bounce off. Like I'm saying, in feng shui, that energy is energy. It's karma. It's the golden rule, okay? And it's so hard. I mean, one thing about revenge is we do end up feeling some sort of satisfaction, because then you have like felt power in this situation. But I want to assure you that Spirit is going to, in fact, take care of that person, okay? But that energy that can cause conflict in your own life, so that when you're stepping into that room and you know that somebody is talking about you, right? Don't approach it. It's going to come back to them. Don't even approach it. Okay? What you can do is stand in your power, stand up for yourself, stand up for what is right. Always stand up for what is right. And stand in your power, because when you stand up for what is right and what is in your power, that's your energy, and that will multiply. And the energy that they're causing may cause a conflict that you cannot avoid, but you do not need to be the one that puts their energy back, because their energy is going to be theirs no matter what. Right? Okay, I finally got some. Yeah, you can ask a question. I would love to answer a question for somebody. Is this the same person? Hello? Yes. I'm sorry, I just got your chat. So just go ahead and ask the question, and I can pull a tarot for you. I don't mind. So, conflict is power when you know how to approach it, okay? When you know how to see how they're all coming together. Okay? All right, so we're going to pull a question. All right. Does anyone want me to read a card or read a spread for them? I think this person does, but he doesn't have a question yet. You have a question. Well, what is your question? I don't. Okay. Woo. It's probably regarding a woman's heart. Was it not? Okay. All right. I'm going to keep going with this spread because I'm feeling something coming up. Okay, yes. We have the Queen of Cups and the Empress. So this is definitely regarding a woman's, important woman in your life. Okay. And there needs to be a decision that is made by either you or this woman. But one of you is looking the other way, and one of you is not focusing yourself on this relationship, and it is probably why you're here, because there is a sense of planning for the future. One of you is planning for the future and one of you is not. And so maybe that's why you're here, wondering why she isn't planning for the future. You know, is she invested in you? Is that your question? All right, let's take a gander. All right, how about, is this question about, is she invested? Okay, is she invested? It looks like she has other things going on. She might be in school. Is this woman invested? I think my chats were delayed today, so I apologize. But we're going with this. Is this woman invested? Okay. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I mean, you're her man. You're her man. So, I mean, she just has a lot going on. I think that you definitely just need to give her, you know, some space. Sometimes when we love something so much, we can hold on to it too tightly. And I think that I can tell that you obviously care a lot about her. I mean, the first two cards were the Queen of Cups and the Empress, and you think a lot about her. And I think maybe that you're almost like putting her on a pedestal. And so I think that she's concentrating on making her life better, but you are her man. So you need to be supportive of whatever she's doing. And if you feel like she's not concentrating on your future together. Maybe have a conversation with her, but I think that perhaps that conversation hasn't been had yet. So I definitely think that, you know, you're her man. There's no doubt about it. All right, loves. Well, that's all I got. I don't have any more in the chat. Those are my messages, that general message. And that last tarot spread was meant for that one person in the chat or whoever meant to see it, okay? So anyways, I hope that resonated. I love ya. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I do come on here and do lives when spirit guides me to. So kisses, loves, hugs. Adios, chicos and chicas.